peace of mind, the downsizing and moving process. We're going to get started in just a moment. And I think we're ready to go. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today with Right Sizing, Peace of Mind with Ellen Sullivan of Wayforth. We're so glad that Ellen can present for us today and that you can all make it and join us for this webinar. Just some housekeeping notes initially. You are muted, but we welcome questions. So please feel free to enter your questions down at the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and we will address those toward the end of the session. Your suggestions on how to improve upon these webinars are welcomed, as well as your ideas for future topics. Just let us know. You can either enter that as well, or you can give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. This presentation will be recorded, so you can view it again at your leisure at a later time. So regarding our communities, Riverwoods Group communities include Riverwoods Exeter. Exeter has 3 different campuses: the Woods, the Ridge, and the Boulders. We have Riverwoods Manchester here. We're located about halfway between Manchester and Concord as the bird flies, right near the Hooksett line. And then we have Riverwoods Durham, who has joined us within the last 2 years or so. Just a quick overview about CCRCs. So a CCRC is a continuing care retirement community. We are an insurance product. We are not a real estate product or a purchase. This is an insurance contract, and the contracts are regulated by the state of New Hampshire. The financial performance is also reported to the state annually. Essentially, you are prepaying and insuring for your future care needs: assisted living, memory care, nursing care, depending on which community you go to. And a portion of the entrance fee and monthly fee are tax deductible. It is a healthcare contract for life. It's also a lifestyle choice. So you enter when you're independent, safe enough to live on your own. You're free from maintenance chores. You leave the workload up to us and have this wonderful lifestyle with the transportation taken care of if you need it, or you can bring your car, dining options, activity options, programs, educational sessions, outings, all sorts of wonderful opportunities going on for you to join. And of course, increased social options as well at a point in your life when life becomes a little quieter and less social. A CCRC allows you to stay in control of your life, and it answers to the question of what your future costs will be for healthcare, what the quality of care will be in the future, availability, you will always have a home here, and the location, where you will be at all levels for the rest of your life. A continuing care retirement community is basically a community where you enter when independent, safe enough to live on your own, as I said, minimum age 62 and up, provides 3 levels of care: independent living, assisted living, and nursing care. Some also have memory support. The residents can transition back and forth between the 3 levels of care very easily within the same community. And then services and amenities are provided at every level. The higher the level of care, typically the more that is included. There's typically 2 fees: an entrance fee, partially refundable, and a monthly fee, a portion of which is tax deductible. So it's an opportunity for you to meet new friends, have time to pursue new interests, and leave the workload up to us. Most continuing care retirement communities also offer benevolence. So that is a fund that is available should you outlive your assets at no fault of your own. You can apply for benevolence annually, and we would review your finances and subsidize your monthly fee so you don't have to leave the community at a point where you are less able to manage a change in your life. About Riverwoods Manchester. So we have a very long-standing history in the Manchester area. We actually started with the Women's Aid and Relief Society many, many years ago, almost 140 years ago, and several transitions over time: Pearl Manor, Hillcrest Terrace, Birch Hill, and now Riverwoods Manchester. In early April, we became Riverwoods Manchester, and we're very excited about that. We actually became a CCRC in 2009 and then transitioned to affiliate with the Riverwoods Group around 2016 as the only Type B contract in the Riverwoods Group of communities where you don't pay for care until you need it. We recently completed over $14 million of interior renovations in independent living. There's more to come. They are working in renovating the health center right now, and then the exterior of the building will also be updated. And we have immediate availability of different floor plans. So if you have questions, you're curious about what size floor plans we have, you're welcome to call. We'd be happy to talk to you about that. We are located in a beautiful country setting, very wooded setting, lovely neighborhood on a hill, sort of overlooking the Manchester area, right off 2 highways going to Manchester, Concord, Boston, the seacoast, the lakes and mountains regions, beautiful, quick, easy access. And we're located right across the street from this incredible 600-acre nature conservancy. There's 2 miles of trails right down the road and just a beautiful setting. So Riverwoods Manchester offers a 70% refundable contract. It is a flexible contract, the only one of its kind in New England. You can actually use your 70% refund during your lifetime if you wish to offset the increase in healthcare costs every month. If you wish to do it that way, you can spend down that refund, or you can leave it to your beneficiaries once you're gone. It is a more affordable contract than many of the Type A contracts, with lower entrance and monthly service fees, where again, you don't pay for healthcare until you need it. And your monthly fees would go up at that point, way below market rate, qualifying you for a lifetime discount on healthcare. It's a great value for couples. Our contract allows you to, it provides greater predictability and cash flow during your lifetime. You can easily use your long-term care insurance here. That works very well in a Type B community. And you can access your money during your lifetime. Like I said, you can leave your refund to your beneficiaries, or you can spend it down here. Basically offers a predictable, flexible, better value in future healthcare. So today's speaker, we are so excited to have Ellen Sullivan here with us today. We've worked with Ellen many times on numerous campuses. She is a seasoned client experience manager and transition specialist at Wayforth. Wayforth is proudly an A+ credited by the National Association of Senior Move Managers. Ellen has spent the last 11 years working with clients who feel overwhelmed with the prospect of planning a later life transition. She is keenly aware that there are many emotions and attachments to possessions, and the best way to streamline the downsizing, right-sizing process is through skillful planning, keeping you in charge. Simply put, working with a move manager gives you peace of mind. Ellen is a respected speaker on downsizing and moving to senior living communities like Riverwoods Manchester, as well as the National Association of Senior Move Managers annual conference. She runs the mentor program for NASMM's annual conference and is on the executive committee for the Boston North Senior Service Network. Ellen spends her weekends at Lake Winnipesaukee in Guilford, New Hampshire. She's a New Hampshire native, loves to water ski, snow ski, and hike with family and friends, and help our residents, our new people moving in. So welcome, Ellen. I will hand the baton over to you, and thank you for being here.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Jen. I appreciate the warm introduction, and I'm so happy to be with everyone here. It was such exciting news with the newly named Riverwoods Manchester. So congratulations to the dynamic and ever innovative Riverwoods group. And the turnout today is great. We'll look forward. I'd love nothing more than for everyone to walk away with a nugget or two of information today that will at least help you propel yourselves forward in your process of move planning. And so, as Jen said, I've been in the industry nearly 12 years. And most of my clients often all of our clients often tell us that the #1 hurdle that they face is planning their upcoming move because of what? All of their possessions. And all of these things and that you have in your lives, you know, we don't like to use the word, but it's stuff. We've accumulated a lot of stuff over our lives. And I'm going to bet if we took a poll, there would be many of you who have been in your homes for 30, 40, 50 plus years. And in that time, you've probably accumulated a lifetime of possessions. And so what we say is that, I could probably move things a little bit forward here. What we usually say is that every 5 to 10 years, we develop a new life cycle or a lifestyle. And we're all different, but cycles can range from college years to marriage to different career adventures, kids, family we've supported, grandkids, the list goes on. And every time we go through these cycles, we often accumulate the items from the past cycles because we don't want to give it up. We start to say, oh, I'll get back to biking or fly fishing. And often we don't, you know, the cycles interrupt or end in interest, and its associated possessions we still have. We might hear, I'm not going to give away that baby toy or that research paper because someday I might just have someone who will need these. And has anyone had that excuse before? I think we all have at one point or another. So our first rule of thumb is if you have to put an excuse in front of why you're keeping something, you probably don't need it. So think about those, the what if, or maybe I. So on with the process. We know that moving is the third most stressful thing anyone can do in a lifetime. We also know that clearing away the clutter and moving the essentials that bring you joy is a way to begin your new phase of a life unburdened by your possessions. Because really what you want to do is focus on your new lifestyle, and it's clutter-free. Focus on your activities. So we acknowledge this. We acknowledge that this process of going through your homes can be very difficult, but our job is to help you understand how we can simplify the process so that you can move on and begin enjoying the lifestyle that you want at Riverwoods, Manchester. And the interesting thing now is that downsizing or right-sizing is trending right now. And there's even a few TV shows out there. So now you can be leading conversations with some tips that we'll share today. So let's just look at downsizing as a fresh start. And we'll talk about how to prioritize. Get these going here. We'll talk about how to prioritize and capture what matters most in your life. So let's look ahead. And it's important to pause and recognize the impact that COVID has had on all of us. Being at home has given us time to take stock in what we need and don't need. And although we promised ourselves we begin downsizing, I wonder how many of us have actually done that. Or maybe it's just given us the opportunity to take stock on an emotional level. We've come a long way these past months, and with most of us now being fully vaccinated, including our Wayforth staff, we look forward together with you so you are ready for all possibilities. And so many people say, I'm not ready, I'm just not ready to move. And what we want to do is to get ready. And even if it might not be your timing or you haven't found the exact apartment yet, we still want you to be ready, because it's when you're ready that makes you ready for all possibilities. So if you don't have to start at square one when the time comes, you'll be ready to make that move and enjoy all the amenities that Riverwoods Manchester has to offer. And we know everyone is different and will remain flexible through it. We know everyone's different and we will remain flexible and meet your needs at whatever phase or stage you are. So on to today, our agenda. Today we'll define the 6 forms of clutter, and we'll see if any of you can relate to one or more of these. And then we'll talk about downsizing tips. And then we'll talk a little bit about where it all goes. It's really easy for us to mention, you have to get rid of, you might want to get rid of this, or you want to get rid of that. But what are the options? What are the options for dispersal? And then lastly, we'll talk about our health and safety protocols in conjunction with Riverwoods Manchester that we follow to keep you keep you as safe and healthy as possible. So now on to the clutter. So today, let me just get to. So does anyone have trash that might be masquerading as clutter. And what I mean by that is the expired medications, expired makeup, a project that you'd never quite finished, or who has a workbench maybe? Do you have something needing repair and you promise yourself to get to fixing that? That's often trash masquerading as clutter, the junk mail that piles up. Take a look at these areas. And there's also clutter without a home. And all those magazines and the articles you dog-eared that you will get to, again, there's that word someday. And newspapers, paperwork, and mail cluttering your countertops. Some of that is trash to get rid of. Others you need a system to organize and free you from that clutter. And when you receive the mail, for example, stand over a recycling bin and immediately get rid of the unneeded junk mail. Separate your bills and find a purposeful place that will allow you to follow up accordingly. The next, does this look like anybody's closet by any chance? This example is obviously an exaggeration. This is when people store a lot of items that you think someday you might possibly or maybe need. So these are the items that are we're often putting excuses around. And remember that rule of thumb: no more excuses to keep you to keep things you're not using. So let's look at even the pantry. If they're overstocked, like this particular, like the clothes closet, we don't keep them organized. We forget what's in the back. We sort through those expired items like spices. Line up your canned goods so you can see them together. And then get rid of items that you might, again, someday possibly use, and keep the ones that you will use. Another rule of thumb is the downsizing. Put down those membership cards. Many of you have memberships with a wholesale provider like Costco and BJ's, and that's a lot of bulk coming into your home. So just ask yourself, do you really need that bulk? Even something like toilet paper is often cheaper at the grocery store, and they're certainly selling in larger amounts as well. So just challenge yourself to tuck away the cards and focus on what's going out rather than what's coming in. And has anyone purchased something just because it was on sale? A really good sale you just couldn't pass up? None of us are guilty of that, right? I mean, I know I'm not. Well, just because it was on sale doesn't necessarily mean it's something you need to bring into your home. I really challenge you to think about this. If you don't need it, use it, wear it, or love it, is it really a bargain? Challenge yourself to resist that free coffee mug. Just say no. So don't take the free stuff. I know it's hard, and I know you think you might possibly use it, but rarely do we find a purpose for the free stuff. You actually take it because it's free, and it's free for a reason. Typically, people are passing it on because they don't want it. See if anyone can relate to this one. Does anyone have a hobby or a project that they thought they'd do someday? Knitting, working out with those fancy weights. So I'll go ahead and confess here. Before I had kids, and well, I'll tell you they're all grown now, so that's the real humor in this story. So before I had kids, I loved to refinish small pieces of furniture. And I was in the middle of a project when I had my first child, Catherine. And I said, I'll get back to refinishing that coffee table. And then 14 months later, I had twin girls, Heather and Kelly. So 3 children and 30 years later, the coffee table is still sitting in my garage. Every time I passed the coffee table, it was a weight on my shoulders that I hadn't gotten back to it. And finally, I said to myself, I'm going to go back to refinishing. And when I did, I found I didn't like the cold dampness of the garage. That really didn't bother me before. And I was now wearing glasses because my eyesight had declined, and they kept running down my nose as I was sanding away. Not quite so enjoyable as it was way back when. So I freed myself of the weight and obligation. I thought I'd feel bad, but I actually felt good donating it to a local Habitat for Humanity restore. And then here's another story. We have a friend who aspired to be a runner, and she walks every single day, but truly wanted to be a runner. So what did she do? She bought a fitness tracker bracelet and a new outfit, new sneakers, and a treadmill. And do you know what happened? She's still an avid walker today. So does anyone have a treadmill that looks like this? Or an exercise machine that might look like this as well? Because these machines are not a clothes hanger or drying racks. We have the best of intentions, but it doesn't always stick. And we're all guilty of it here and there. And so we need to ask ourselves, am I using it? Do I need it? Do I love it? And then there is sentimental clutter. These are items that family and friends and loved ones have given you. It's your memorabilia, it's your photos, collectibles you've been gathering over the years. And we'll talk a few ways about downsizing those treasures, but let's acknowledge that it can be the most difficult and time-consuming area to address. And sentimental clutter comes in another form of obligatory clutter. And let me give you an example. So I have a colleague whose sister-in-law gave her a lantern. She hated the lantern, but every time her sister-in-law came, she put the lantern out. So a few Christmases later, do you know what happened? Her sister-in-law gave her a matching lantern. So finally, she had to admit to herself, I don't love this lantern. I need to let it go. And she freed herself of the obligation of having to put it out every year and that burden. So even when it's hard, when we downsize and challenge ourselves to look at these items in a different way, or a different lens, it can actually be freeing. So let's give you some quick tips on downsizing and keep in mind those forms of clutter. So here, so let's start now. It's never too early to start to prepare for your future. And start small. One drawer at a time is fine. Go to the least emotional area first. Remember, don't start with what clutter? That sentimental clutter. And don't start with your photos or memorabilia because it will be overwhelming and your ability to get through that task in a timely manner will be lost. Start with one junk drawer or a linen closet, and this will allow you to get some momentum going. So how do you keep a schedule and progress moving forward? Set a timer. Set a timer for 10 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes. For those of you with cell phones or Apple Watches, timers are abundant. Use a microwave or an egg timer if you need to. But set a realistic goal and clear out that drawer or that one side of the closet. But just stay focused from distractions and check the box off and move on. Maybe consider having a buddy to downsize with. So give you another example, my brother's a runner and he runs all year long, even in the frigid winter months. And he said that there are cold, dark mornings that he would like to turn over and fall back to sleep. But he knows that his friend, his running buddy, will be out there by the mailbox and he doesn't want to let him down. So find someone, a friend, whoever, to hold you accountable in your downsizing projects, just as my brother did with his running buddy. And lastly, set an appointment with yourself. Write it on the calendar, March 12th, downsizing, 9 to 9:30, 9 to 9:20, junk drawer, mugs, Tupperware. And so now we'll go on to the top tips for downsizing. And the first tip is have a plan. And it's really never too early to create a floor plan. And if you haven't already, you can talk to Jen or Leanne about the prospective floor plans that you'd like. And even if it's not available just yet, working through a floor plan will become a roadmap for you. It'll allow you to know at least narrow down the furniture that you'll be able to move with you. And not only do you identify the furniture that you can take that will go with you, you can also identify what will go in and on that furniture. So I'll give you the opportunity to consider repurposing a piece. An example there is many of our clients have hutches and they are usually in 2 pieces. And while they may not want to bring the full hutch, they'll take the top off and donate it and use the bottom for a TV console because they love the idea of having the storage down below. So just an example of repurposing a space with a particular piece of furniture. But just getting an idea of your floor plan, hands down, is a really important exercise to go through because we can focus on what's going with you, and it really creates efficiency for your move day. And obviously, the floor plan is also a good springboard to creating a timeline for your target dates. And we'll work with you to develop a customized plan, just creating a calendar. And while it may seem daunting, it can be a real relief to just get something down on a calendar. And what we do is we fill in your move date and work backwards. So whether it's a move date or getting the house ready for the market date, just take it one step at a time, but work backwards so that you can, manage that schedule and get some momentum going. So through all of this, the process that we just mentioned, that calendar will give you a framework, and don't be afraid to solicit the help from an expert. I know, being from New Hampshire too, we're all very independent and able-bodied, but just know that, Riverwood Manchester has brought us to the table so that there's ease in the process should you need us. Because if you don't properly plan, you could end up stuck. And so just know that move day is very dynamic, but without proper planning, it can end up actually costing you more time and money than you bargained for. So downsizing tip number 2. Again, start with those unemotional areas. And we've already touched on that. And number 1, it's faster. You'll get practice and momentum in your downsizing. And number 2, it's unemotional, and you can make decisions to release an item easier. So it's good practice when you do get to those sentimental areas. So let's look at some examples of the less emotional areas. A linen closet. Here's a good rule of thumb. 2 sets of towels per bathroom, 1 in the bathroom and 1 in the linen closet. And then 2 sets of sheets per bed, 1 on the bed, 1 in the linen closet. And now, obviously, there are some exceptions. And I'll have to admit, I have a 3rd set of flannel sheets for the winter months. So do what works best for you. Another area might be your Tupperware cabinet. Take the entire cabinet of Tupperware out. That rule of thumb, find a staging space to see your whole collection. Bring the items to a countertop or a table, and I'm sure many of these are tucked in the back of the cabinet, never used or seeing the light of day. So match up your lids and the bottoms, toss the broken, warped, discolored or mismatched ones, and return the ones to the cabinet that you'll use regularly. Have a small donation box available to pass on to those in need. And then the same method can be applied to your sock drawer. Keep the matched ones that you'll use. Another great area is pots and pans. Downsizing is as much about the emotional spaces, those most emotional aspects, as the physical. So reflect on your new lifestyle at Riverwood Manchester. Remember, while you may have been cooking for the masses in the past, it's your turn to be catered to now. Remember the aspirational clutter. Do you think you'll be cooking lobsters for 20 people? Or are you excited about leaving it behind to attend a summer lobster outing with your new neighbors at Riverwoods Manchester? So think, do you really need that large stock pot or 25 lobster crackers? Keep a sampling of the small and medium saucepan. Keeping a small sampling of the small and medium saucepans will probably do you just fine. Downsizing tip number 3, ask yourself the tough questions. Remembering, we're relating back to those, relating this exercise to your new and exciting community lifestyle. With these items, do I use it? Do I need it? Do I love it? Is it useful? Does it bring me joy? And I would add, has it served its purpose? As with our example of the stock pot, there are certain items that served us well in the past, but are not a part of our new beginnings. When we're with you, we'll ask you these questions. And we've had instances when a client will say that they need an item and then laugh at their own reasoning. It can be a fun process and one that you may just need an extra set of hands or unbiased third party like us to guide the decision-making process. These questions will give your process consistency and meaning. Downsizing tip number 4, create sorting categories. So decluttering is a funny thing. Once you open it up and start seeing things that have been hidden for 10 plus years, you get a renewed interest in it and you start bringing out those what ifs again. Ooh, I gotta have this. What if I might be able to use this someday? And you start creating those excuses. Again, look to someone who can guide you through the process or can take some of these tips to keep you disciplined. You want to guard against getting caught with these second thoughts. So the categories we typically use, besides keep, of course, are these: sell, donate, dispose. And I would add 2 other categories: the move elsewhere pile. How often do we have similar items scattered about in different places in our house? CDs should be with the CD player and not in the middle, not in the kitchen junk drawer. New light bulbs and extension cords should all be in one place, handy for when you need them. And the second additional category is what I call the I haven't a clue category. So avoid derailing the process and the progress and the momentum of decision making. Don't get stuck on an item that you're just not too sure about. Set it aside, and certainly avoid gathering too large a pile in this category, but revisit it with fresh eyes in a day or so and make a decision. Another rule of thumb: schedule a donation pickup a day after. And because you really don't want to be going back into the bags and undoing decisions you've already made. So if we're working with you, we can haul away clothing or light items that same day if that helps your process. Tip number 5, consider your lifestyle of the future. And this has been a constant theme throughout the presentation. And the beauty of your lifestyle at Riverwoods Manchester is there's no more maintenance. No one has to get on a ladder. No one has to rake those leaves. So as you're downsizing, don't blame us if we push back on you bringing the leaf blower. You can always check with Jen, but I think we'll be safe there. How about your good formal china? I challenge you to use it. I use mine every day. It goes in the dishwasher. The gold band is still intact. I just don't put it in the microwave. And I'm enjoying what had previously been gathering dust in my cabinet. If that doesn't appeal to you, it's time to let it go and let somebody else enjoy it. Tip number 6, keep your favorite collectibles, but not all of them. Whether it's stamps, Hummels, milk glass, the real joy you got in the collections probably was seeking them out to purchase. And we suggest downsizing the collections. I had a client who had a collection of owl figurines, and she had them all over her home. And I asked her how she came to collect them. And she said she mentioned one day that she liked owls. And from that day on, she received owl figurines for every birthday and holiday going forward. And our client had a lovely circular wood hanging shelf. And I asked her if she'd like to fill that shelf with her favorites. And she agreed. And we collected all the owls from all over the house and gathered them on the table. And she filled the shelf with her favorites and was very pleased that she had a sampling of her collection and could give away the rest. So having a sample of your collections is a great conversation starter as you're meeting new people. There's usually a great stories behind the fun times acquiring these treasures, and stories are a wonderful way to connect and honor your memories. And the same exercise can be applied to your books. Determine the number of bookcases that will fill your new space, and then fill those bookcases with your favorites. Downsizing tip number 7, take inventory of your clothing. I really love this when we're working with a client. We ask if everything in the closet fits them, and we usually get a smirk or a giggle. So many of us keep the other sizes that we're not using, saying, I might someday possibly be that size one day. Well, I want to be. So what happens when the clothing is a size 8 and we're a size 10 or a size 12? And we look at those and we feel it's guilt. I mean, free yourself from that. The clothes you're wearing today are the clothes you truly love and wear. And we wear about 20% of our clothing anyway. So you can apply the 1-year rule or 6-month if you want to try out this experiment. But every time you use a piece of clothing, you can turn the hanger around when you return it. So after 3, 6, 12 months, you can really see what you've actually worn. Take a look at items, clothing items under your dry cleaning plastic bags. Are you using them, or are you just holding on to an item because maybe you paid a lot for it years ago? Reassess those items under the plastic. And while styles do come and go, that blue blazer you may have had might have outdated lapels or shoulder pads to today's standards. So consider moving it along. So anything with dust, my rule of thumb in the closet, anything with dust on it is a dead giveaway. Shoes, shoulder pads, or shoulders on outfits maybe. So keep that in mind. Downsizing tip number 8. Spend some extra time in the kitchen. The kitchen has been the heart and soul of the house, and it's well worth taking time to sort through and select what you're truly using. And remember your new lifestyle. Many people get tripped up on many of the, let's just say, extras. And we see a lot of small appliances not being used, so it's time to share that forward. Or I can't tell you how many times a client tells me that they need 4 whisks. So I challenge you to know if there's anyone out there that can use more than 2 at a time, or maybe 8 pie plates. So unless there's a special need for them, you need to ask yourself, do I really need those duplicates anymore? Downsizing tip number 9, start shredding and recycling. Shredding on your home shredder can be a huge waste of time on your efficiency if you have a lot of shredding to do. And we suggest gathering all your shredding together, just like we had you get the Tupperware together and the socks together, whatever it is, see that whole collection. And it may take a period of a few days to do this, or weeks, but set aside a banker's box size box and get all that shredding in there. And if the pile is considerable, there are resources to help. In the spring, there are often many options. There's town shredding events, or check with your accountant or financial planner for any free offerings they might have. Staples takes shredding, charged by the pound. They do place the items in a locked bin from Iron Mountain. For those of you who need to witness their items being shredded, mobile shredding companies like Shred It are available. Northeast Record Retention and Hooksit is another good opportunity. And there are various other places, but these are some that we've used before. And feel free to enter any of your suggestions into the Q&A or the chat, and we'd all be happy to take away any of your resources as well. And if we are working with you, we're happy to haul away any manageable piles if it makes it easier for you. So a good rule of thumb is that unless it's a permanent life record or taxes, you probably don't need most of that because most of it is online now. And downsizing tip number 10, tell your stories. People want to hear. So go down memory lane and share your stories with family and friends. And I encourage you to take a photo or a video, bring them front and center, and then release them. If that will help you move on from some of these unneeded items. We challenge you to see if you can consider bringing 1 plastic bin of memorabilia with you. And then that way you can have them close, display them, and enjoy them. So where does it all go? We've just given you 10 tips and some quick start ideas. Now let's address the extra items you're not taking. Categories are usually family, sell, donate, haul away, or dispose. First, let's look at family, but I do want to caution you to think, do your kids really want your stuff? I do like this. This is a humorous cartoon, and it does say, "One day, son, all of this will be yours." And it's a full storage unit. And do yourself and your kids a favor. Make the decisions now and don't leave it to them. Communicate what's important to you so it doesn't become their burden. And I would also guard against taking items with a plan to downsize at your new apartment. That is a big mistake. It prevents you from having the proper space for the items you are using, and it prevents you from truly engaging in your new lifestyle at Riverwoods, Manchester. You should be out enjoying the community life, all that life has to offer, rather than stuck in your apartment with unpacked boxes. So what does sell? We can certainly try and sell items for you. I'm going to caution you here too. Often, because it adds value to you, it doesn't necessarily translate to monetary value. There's emotional value and monetary value, and they don't always equal each other. What is selling is mid-century modern furniture in excellent condition. What isn't selling is the big brown furniture. Big brown furniture, not quite so much, but the teak chair does still hold some interest. Anything unusual. Here we can see that we sold a unicycle one time. We've had a beaver top hat, really unusual things. Sterling silver sells if you're okay with it being melted down for the sterling, or rather for the silver, but times have changed. The new generations are going to local home goods, picking up the $12.99 platter, and that's what they're entertaining with. Generally speaking, gone are the days of polishing silver and bringing out the good stuff. So any collectibles like Lionel trains still sell, but they can't be painted or refurbished. And oddly, nutcrackers have sold. Signed sports memorabilia, like Muhammad Ali's framed signed boxers, are popular. We use trusted partners to help sell items. We would typically take a photo of your item, email it to our dealer to gauge interest. If there's any interest for the dealer to view your item, we'd set up an appointment for you to meet and talk further. And then if you agree on the sale, you get 100% of the proceeds between the two. We just want to help you getting from point A to point B. And when you're selling, for the most part, you're not going to realize a big return from the sale. Selling is a solution to move your items along so that you can, so others can enjoy them and you don't have to necessarily pay to dispose them in advance. And on to donation. We do have trusted partners. Habitat for Humanity restores, there's a number of them. In Families in Transition, I know there are others, but those are biggies for us. But if there's a special charity that you wish to donate to, we're happy to do so. But because we want to ensure that whomever you choose to donate to offers a good solution and resonates with you personally. I did just want to state what sells versus what is good for donation. And first of all, items need to be in really good condition. Hummels have not held their value. Yadros are better, but they are still a bit of a challenge. We've had clients donate and sell these items depending on demand and ability to let it go at a low price. And just remember, donation can be life-changing to a struggling family, especially in this past year. Jobs and homes have been lost. People have had to make a new start in towns and states where hiring has happened. So we want to make sure that you know that the team at Riverwoods Manchester doesn't want you to go at this alone. Ask for help. It's available. Know that we're here to help with every step of the process or just for partial help. We're here to do as much or as little as you'd like. We become part of your team, not to take over, but to guide the process and be that extra set of hands where you need it. We have project managers who will assist you and be part of your new beginning. At the end of the pack day, your bed is made and all the boxes and unpacked items are resettled. We have 2 project managers on the Seacoast, and some of our Massachusetts project managers are right on the New Hampshire Mass border. And we do want to just make a note of our Way Safe initiative. From day one with COVID, we established a health and safety protocol, and we're committed to your safety because we're committed to our safety and that of our loved ones as well. Because we are considered essential workers, much of our company has received both doses of the vaccine, as you have, and we continue to follow protocols, daily temperature taking, mask wearing, hand washing, and social distancing. We are meeting our clients in person, but know that if that virtual appointments are available as well. And taking care of you has never mattered more. We are people helping people, and we truly are here for you, so that you can look forward and begin enjoying what really matters most in your life. And so before we move on here, I just wanted to thank Jen and for having us today, for having Wayforth, and we look forward to any questions and answers that you may have.
Thank you so much, Ellen. That was wonderful. So my grandmother's 3 sets of china, I should probably not bring with me when I move into a CCRC. Is that?
That's right. Maybe it's going to be your everyday, Jen.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we really appreciate that, and I think your tips on starting early are really critical. We have people now who weren't planning to move, and now they're seeing the seller's market and they're saying, oh my gosh, how quickly can I get this done? And they're sorry they didn't start sooner. So you just never know. And it's certainly a great idea. We're going to look at some questions in let's see here. Anyone who has questions, you can enter them in the Q&A down at the bottom of your screen. The first question is, what about appraising and selling fine art? Are you able to speak to that?
Yes. In terms of appraising and selling, so appraisals, formal written appraisals would be done by an art dealer or antique dealer specializing for fee for service. Selling art, again, would fall under that process of, gathering some general information, taking photos. I would email it to our dealer and just say, do you have any interest in meeting with the client and learning more and seeing and firsthand? So appraisals and purchasing would be 2 separate things. That same person that I have in mind for purchasing does do formal appraisals, either just for your insurance policy or just for your own edification, but we'll do it for a fee for service.
Okay, thank you. Any tips for downsizing 2 homes at once?
I guess I have a few questions for you, and I'm happy to talk offline. But I'm a firm believer in breaking things down in small, manageable bites, and not taking on too much at a time. But if they're in different states or different areas, we can put two teams. This actually brings up a really good point, that if there are interested parties who are out of state, we have Wayforth ourselves are between New England all the way down to Florida. So we've got trucks, we've got teams along the eastern seaboard. If, however, you have somebody, in South Carolina, and it's not close to our office there, we, as part of the National Association of Senior Move Managers, have colleagues we've been working with across the country for over a decade. So we can find you someone local and get things going. So again, you'll have my contact information shortly. As a matter of fact, I think it's coming up on another page, but I am happy to talk offline to get a little bit more information.
One other question, what is the average length of time that one would leave to downsize a home?
Couple of things to consider. How quickly can you make a decision? Are you ready to downsize? Are you ready to start asking yourself some of those questions? In terms of timing, we've moved people, and I have no word of a lie, we've moved people in a week, and we've moved people in 3 months, we've moved people in a year. So I think when you think of downsizing, a lot of times we think about just picking it up, putting it down, making a decision, but downsizing, right sizing, and planning is really looking at all your items with a different lens. It really is an emotional component. And a lot of people lose sight of that. And they stay within their present life and their present needs as they're making decisions, when in reality, we should be looking at our new lifestyle and freeing ourselves from some of the things that we've had. So time-wise, again, we offer complimentary consultations, and it is in that first visit and we would meet up to an hour. And it is in that time that I can get a good idea of timing and what I think would be a reasonable timetable.
All right.
So we can help you with any timetable. It takes two, though.
Right. I had a resident who was so stressed about all of her family heirlooms, china and silver and things like that. And she just was heartbroken at the thought of donating those items, and family weren't particularly excited about it. So what she did was, after Thanksgiving, she actually said, nobody can leave until you take something from this table with you. And so they all had to take, whether it was a china bowl or silver or something like that, they took it with them, and that gave her peace of mind that her favorite things went to her kids or grandkids, and that's really all she needed to know, and it just made it all possible for her.
That's right. There you go.
Well, thank you so much, Ellen. We totally appreciate your time today. It's great information, and our experience with Wayforth is they can make a move happen very quickly. They can take as little or as much time as you need, and can do as little or as much of that process as you need.
Right.
Just want to cover on our screen here, we have a great webinar coming up on May 4th at 10 o'clock, Guide to CCRCs. So it's a basic class on the different contract types and how they work, and kind of spells it all out, extremely helpful. So feel free to go to our website and sign up for CCRC 101. There is also a lunch and learn at noon on May 12th. You're welcome to sign up for that as well. And we will have a resident couple join us at the end of that session to talk about life at Riverwoods Manchester, what it's like living here, their experiences in moving in, how they found the move-in process for them, and so forth. So it's another great opportunity. Let's just see if we have, I don't see any more questions. So again, thank you so much, Ellen. We appreciate your time, and thank you all of you out at the other end for joining us today. We appreciate it, and this will be recorded so you can watch it again later.
Wonderful.
Thank you, and have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.